Madam Deputy Speaker, for my own sanity, I have to believe that some things, at least some things, are objectively true. And one of those things, surely, is that actions have consequences. If we hold that effort deserves reward, so surely we should demand that violence deserves justice. But, Madam, we've had a change. Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Order, members on my right, especially the member for Coomera. I should say the member for Mermaid Beach.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, that was certainly not a reflection on the chair. But, Mr. Deputy Speaker, for a decade, there has been no justice for communities across Queensland. Instead, they've had salt poured into their wounds, emotional and physically, by a Labor government that was either disinterested or incapable of owning its mistakes. But I'm happy to report, Mr. Deputy Speaker, there is hope. You see, the people of Queensland have spoken, and a new government in this new parliament will right these wrongs and make Queensland safe. Mr. Deputy Speaker, safety is surely the primary obligation of any government, because without safety you cannot have prosperity. And that is because if you, as a citizen or a provider, are fixated about keeping you and your family safe, you cannot do those other things, those aspirational things, those things that will deliver a better tomorrow because you are too consumed about being safe today. And, Mr. Deputy Speaker, while certainly there are victims, hundreds of thousands of victims in Queensland that have been directly affected by the youth crime crisis, I want to acknowledge those indirect victims, those who have been impacted by rising insurance costs, but also those who have been impacted because they have been robbed of the opportunity to enjoy that great Queensland lifestyle. Now, Mr. Deputy Speaker, like many members on this side, and I have to be confident that it's true of those on the other side, I did a lot of door knocking during the campaign, a lot of door knocking. And I did grow up during that door knocking, and how could you not grow up when confronted by harrowing stories, their growth opportunities? And I would hope that the opposition have the opportunity to grow through this debate and realise that the electorate has spoken. And, Mr. Deputy Speaker, what they have said is very, very, very clear. And what they have said, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is that we cannot continue down the current path, because if we do, we will create more victims, and those victims will sometimes pay incredible costs. Now, Mr. Speaker, in my own community, having door-knocked many thousands of homes, I was keen to make sure that I had a social licence. I had a licence from my community to walk in here and back in these laws. And I was very proud to launch a campaign. It was called the Stop Burley Crime campaign. It was available at stopburleycrime.com.au. And I knocked on doors, I put flyers through letter boxes, and by the end of that campaign, which ran but a few months, 800 families had joined our campaign for change. And they didn't want anything extraordinary. They wanted more police and they wanted stronger laws so that they could get on with the job of raising their families and running their businesses. And what occurred to me during that process, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is that not only were these 800 families distressed with the weaker laws that had been foisted upon them by a government too disinterested to deal with the problem. But they were confronted by a lack of resources on the ground. And what I mean to say is they had fewer police in 2024 than they had had in 2015, despite our population growing. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, I talked about adding salt into the wounds of the problem, because it was the former Labor government who created this crime crisis by weakening the laws, and they didn't respond with more police to play catch-up. They reduced the number of police. In the Burleigh electorate, police numbers went backwards. It's not a lie, and I'd actually ask the... I'll take the interjection. Thank you, Member for Chatsworth.
Member for Burleigh and Member for Cooper, I've heard both of you in the last 20 seconds use unparliamentary language. Member for Burleigh, would you withdraw?
Mr. Deputy Speaker, of course I would withdraw. And
Thank you. Just take a moment. Just withdraw, please.
I do withdraw.
Thank you. Member for Cooper, would you please withdraw your unparliamentary language?
Of course, Speaker, I withdraw.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Member for Burleigh, you have the call.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and I'll certainly be seeking your guidance after this contribution to better understand how to make my point. And it's important that I do make my point, because my community has said unequivocally that they need a voice in this parliament championing their concerns. Now, my colleagues on this side of the chamber have done a remarkable job articulating how these laws will work, and they will work. So what I would like to do instead is to reflect on the concerns of my community, to speak up on behalf of those 800 signatories. Now, Mr. Deputy Speaker, Burleigh I consider to be the jewel in the Gold Coast tourism crowd. Every member loves their patch of Queensland, but I regard Burleigh as an incredible place. And unfortunately, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the attention in Burleigh has brought with it an unsavoury cohort. We have young offenders tearing down shop fronts. We have young offenders abusing staff members, and we have young offenders assaulting visitors along the Burleigh Esplanade. And this is a concern for me, Mr. Deputy Speaker, because not only is this youth crime crisis and its associated antisocial behaviour putting property and safety at risk, but it's actually putting our economy at risk as well. Because when you have a tourism asset, and Burleigh is a tourism asset for the Gold Coast, at risk of permanent reputational damage, well, then you have economic consequences, and we can ill afford that. To answer the call of the community, I'm very proud to stand with my LNP colleagues and support the Making Queensland Safe law. But I do also want to say that we will do something that the ALP refused to do in government, and that is to properly resource local police. And I want to thank the Minister for Police, who I saw in the chamber shortly, just a moment ago, because he came down to the Burleigh community and he said that we would right Labor's wrong. As part of our election commitment, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the LNP will deliver a $4.1 million boost to public safety initiatives in Burleigh. We will have $2 million for new wages for extra police. We will have $500,000 dedicated to CCTV initiatives. We will have more lighting, more CCTV, but what I'm most excited about is we will have a permanent police presence in Burleigh. And that's important, as I said, to address issues in the economy, but it's important for another reason, because at the moment, an under-resourced Palm Beach police station is having hard-working police officers dragged out of the suburbs at night into a nighttime hotspot. But by delivering a permanent police presence and $1 million for Friday and Saturday night duties into Burleigh, we will free up resources in the cul-de-sacs and the streets where people are doing it tough, where people have been affected by stolen cars, by assaults and robberies. So, Mr Deputy Speaker, I give my full support to these laws. I give my full support to a government that will deliver extra police to enforce those laws. Consequences must have action, and I hope the members opposite realise that their inaction has consequences as well. Electoral consequences. Thank you.
Member for Hill.